Hey everybody, welcome back to Living Traditions Homestead. My name is Kevin. Well, we actually got our very first snow of the season today. We got about a ½ inch of snow, so not a blizzard by any means, but it was nice to see some snow falling and have a little bit of white on the ground. So it is a good day to stay inside today with the wind chill. It's only in the teens and not a great day to be working outside, so I thought we would spend the day inside today making one of my favorite snacks to have around the homestead, and that is pickled quail eggs. We're going to make an awesome recipe today using 4 dozen quail eggs. I've got my quail eggs here. Now these are Coturnix quail eggs. For those of you who don't watch all the time, I raise quail. These are eggs from my own quail, so I've got 4 dozen eggs here. The very first thing that we're going to do is we're going to boil these eggs. We need these to be hard boiled. So let's head over to the stove. I'm going to show you first how I do that. Now for the most part, boiling quail eggs is exactly like boiling chicken eggs. We're going to do them on the stove top. Now usually with chicken eggs these days we do them in our Instant Pot, but for quail eggs I still like to do them on the stove top. So we're going to start by taking our 4 dozen eggs and getting them into the boiling water. Now I always like to have the water boiling first. I know some people like to put the eggs in cold water. I like to boil the water first and then put the eggs in. These eggs have already all been washed, so I know that they're nice and clean. The way that I like to put them in is with a slotted spoon like this. So we can just put a few in at a time and we'll drop them right into the boiling water. We're going to put all 4 dozen in at the same time. And then once they're in, we'll start our timer. Alright, all of our eggs are in the water and it's already boiling a little bit. I'm going to leave it on high for now until it's coming to a really good boil. Those eggs kind of cooled the water back down a little bit. Now, where I differ from a lot of people with quail eggs, a lot of people will only boil them for 3 minutes, 5 minutes. I actually boil my quail eggs for about 10 minutes. Now, they don't necessarily have to be boiled that long in order to be boiled all the way through, but I have found that by boiling them for 10 minutes, they actually peel a lot better. Now, it could just be the eggs that I raise, I don't know. I know that may be controversial to some people, but I like to boil them for 10 minutes because I feel like they peel better when they're all done. So I'm going to set my timer for 10 minutes, and then we'll move on to the next step. Alright, the eggs only have about 2 minutes left of boiling, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to fill up another container with ice water. This time of year, because we have well water, our water is super cold, so I don't need to add ice cubes. I'm just going to fill this with the coldest water that I can get out of the tap. So as soon as these eggs are done boiling, we can switch them over to the ice water. Alright, our timer just went off. We're going to turn our heat off, stop these from boiling. And we're going to transfer them. We're going to use the same spoon here. We're going to transfer these over to our ice water to start cooling down. Alright, we're just going to leave those in the ice water while we move on to making our pickling solution. So we want these to be nice and cooled down before we start peeling them. They'll definitely peel a lot easier once they're cooled down. Let's get started on our pickling solution. We're going to be using a variety of different spices in our solution here today. Now most of the spices that we use around the homestead, if we can't grow them ourselves, we buy them in bulk through Azure Standard. If you haven't checked out Azure Standard, definitely check them out. Basically, it's a way to be able to afford bulk organic items that get delivered directly to your community. They have like a drop-off point where everybody goes and picks up their things once a month, and you can get some really good deals on organic ingredients. So I definitely recommend that you check them out. The first thing that we're going to be using in our solution is going to be 4 teaspoons of salt. We use pink Himalayan salt, but if you use just regular table salt or sea salt, it doesn't matter for this recipe. So we're going to use 4 teaspoons. We're also going to be use 3 teaspoons of cayenne pepper. Now, again, these are supposed to be spicy pickled quail eggs, but if you don't like your things quite so spicy, you can adjust that to the way that you like it. So we're going to be using 3 teaspoons, which is going to give it quite a kick. Next, we're going to put in 12 whole peppercorns. Wow, do those smell good. Okay, so 12 of those. 3, 6, 9, 12. All right, 12 peppercorns. We're going to use 10 whole allspice. We're also going to use 2 teaspoons of whole yellow mustard seeds. 4 whole cloves. And then the final thing is 6 cloves of garlic. And then we're going to add 2 bay leaves as well. And then to that we're going to add 3 cups of just plain white vinegar. We're going to take this mixture over to the stove and we're going to get this boiling. We want to get this going to a rolling boil. I'm just going to stir everything around. Once this is boiling, we're going to turn the heat off and we're going to let this simmer for 1 to 2 hours before adding it to our eggs. Which is great because 2 hours is probably just about the amount of time it'll take me to peel 4 dozen quail eggs. Not really, but it does seem like it takes a long time. While we're waiting for that to come up to a boil, we're just going to check on our eggs. I'm going to replace a little bit of the water here with some more cold water. It kind of warmed up from the heat of the eggs, so we're going to replace that with some more cold water before we start peeling them. Alright, now that that's boiling, we're going to turn it off. We're actually going to put a cover on it because breathing in those fumes with the cayenne can be a little irritating. So go ahead and put a cover on that, let it steep for 1 to 2 hours. Now, while our pickling solution is steeping, we're going to go ahead and get all of our eggs peeled and put in jars. I'm going to make 2 pint jars today, so we're going to do 24 eggs in each jar. Now, for quail eggs, the way I like to peel them is break it a little bit on the counter, roll it around to loosen the shell up real good, and then typically it will come off pretty easily. Again, this is one of the reasons I like to kind of overboil them because I feel like it makes the shell just come off in nice pieces. You can see that one came off almost perfectly. All of the eggs are peeled and in the jars. I only had 1 egg out of 4 dozen that didn't peel really perfectly. So I just went ahead and ate that one. But the other 47 of them made it in the jars. You guys, this is why I like boiling them extra long like that, because they really do peel so much better. So go ahead and give that a try. The last thing that we're going to do, now we still have about a half hour on our timer for our pickling liquid. So the last thing that we're going to do for right now is we're going to take 1 jalapeno. I'm going to slice this into thin slices. We're going to put that in each jar. And we're going to put the jars in the refrigerator until the pickling solution is ready to put in the jars. And you can skip this if you want. If you don't want it to be quite as spicy, you can add, a non-spicy pepper instead. We're just going to put about half of these in each jar. Alright, those are ready to go in the refrigerator until our pickling liquid is ready. It's been 2 hours that our pickling solution has been steeping on the stove. It smells really good. So it's time to add it to the eggs. So we've got our eggs and our jalapenos in the jars here. All we're going to do is we're going to just pour this liquid into each jar. We're going to try to get it about equal. And then we're going to try to get equal amounts of the other things in there as well. At this point, most of the flavor should have come out into the vinegar. So it doesn't matter if they're not exactly equal, but try to get, some things in each jar. Alright, our jars are filled. I'm going to top this one off just a little bit more. So we do want everything covered in there. Now, all we're going to do is we're going to cover these. I'm going to give them a little shake to make sure everything gets good and dispersed in there. And then we are going to put these in the refrigerator. We're going to give them at least 24 hours before we try any. Really letting them for 2 or 3 days will be best. But because these are quail eggs and they're much smaller than chicken eggs, they do get done a lot faster. So really after 24 hours, they should have pretty good flavor. So I'm going to put these in the refrigerator. I'll be back tomorrow, which will be just a second for you guys, and we're going to give these a try. It's been 24 hours since the eggs went into the refrigerator. I convinced Sarah to come try them. Now, she isn't as big of a fan of super spicy things as I am, and these can sometimes turn out pretty spicy. So, we're going to see how we like them.
Oh, me first?
No. How about we go at the same time?
Okay.
Alright, here we go. I think they're good.
They're very good.
I think they turned out really well.
The heat is an after effect.
Yeah, the heat kicks you a little bit after, but not too bad, but I do think they're going to get a little spicier as they're in the refrigerator for a few more days. But I think all in all, they turned out really well.
I think the flavor is really good. And you're right. The longer they sit in the fridge, the better they're going to be. One really nice thing about pickled eggs is just having that really nice, quick, or not quick, snack in the refrigerator. It's common for us to have pickled quail eggs in the refrigerator, but also, you know, chicken eggs or duck eggs. I do really like different kinds of pickled eggs. None of them have been as spicy as this, but they're not too bad. I do really enjoy it.
Right. Yeah, it is nice just when you're having like a quick bout of hunger.
Yep.
To be able to go in the fridge, just take one or two, eat them, and kind of get over it, and then, you know, make it to your next meal. So
we also incorporate a lot of these eggs, pickled eggs, and hard-boiled quail eggs into our salads every lunch.
Right.
That's really good.
Yeah. So you guys, I highly recommend that you give this recipe a try. It is one of my favorites for pickled quail eggs. You can also do this with chicken eggs if you would like.
Yep.
You just have to let them in the refrigerator longer before you eat them. Now, these in the refrigerator, what they say is about 2 weeks that they'll be safe in the refrigerator. You'll probably push it a little longer than that.
Well,
but
the liquid is 100% vinegar.
Right.
I think you're probably okay with them going longer.
Right. But officially, they say 2 weeks. And to be honest, these 2 jars won't make it 2 weeks in our house anyway. So, you guys, give this a try. Let me know what you think. And as always, if you're enjoying our videos, don't forget to hit that subscribe button before you leave. Give this video a thumbs up. And remember, the absolute best way that you can help us is just to share our videos on all of your social media. Until next time, thank you so much for stopping by our homestead. Take care, and God bless.
God bless.